Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Drug Court. I'm Judge Martin. As usual, we are on the record and we are also being live streamed to the public, as all courts are required to be public. So wanted to make sure to remind everybody of that. I don't have any announcements today, so Ms. Reeves, if it's okay with you, we'll get right to the good parts, okay? So I think we've got a few visitors, and I want a special welcome to you to our drug court courtroom. and very excited to have you with us for the celebration with Ms. Reeves, and super excited as well to have our other participants listening in as Ms. Reeves celebrates a really big milestone here. Ms. Reeves, you know my MO. I like to prepare for these. I put some time into preparing for these ceremonies because they're important, and I think there's a real opportunity here for us to share our thoughts with you, and of course for you to share your thoughts with all of us. A few notes that really stand out for me about the portion of your journey that took place in drug court. First, I think you demonstrated a really strong commitment to your fellowship. You plugged in really right away, right when you got in with us. You surrounded yourself with good people and a good program, and that's been critical. You've had bosses, managers, coworkers, roommates, all sorts of folks around you in various capacities who could lend support on a moment's notice. And I think that was especially critical when you were new to drug court. And of course, when the pandemic hit, you were still relatively new. And all of those challenges, it looked like that really helped you navigate that. I think that you also built a very strong recovery routine. And that's really different. There's having a good support network, but there's also having a good recovery routine, and they're really two different things. But you built a routine, you set up your own structure, following our rules, but you built your own, and you followed it and stuck with it, and that also, I think, helped you weather the very disruptive onset of the pandemic when a lot of other people were struggling. I watched you really double down and recommit when relapses might happen around you or near you. And I think with regard to that, the challenge going forward is keeping that objectivity, avoiding blind spots. When you're close to so many other people in recovery, you've got to really make an extra effort to make sure that you're working your program and they're working theirs. I know you know that intellectually, but I'm going to keep banging that drum anyway because that's my job. And I think the other most obvious feature of your time with us from where I sat was your quest to regain custody of your kids. I know that's still ongoing, and you know that will be ongoing for years to come. In one form or another, that is going to probably always present at least some challenge to you. Patience has been your superpower, okay? And I don't for one second suggest that has been easy, but you stayed calm and stayed focused to a very impressive degree. The need to continue keeping this up means that you really have to keep the decks clear of distractions, clear of frustrations. You have no time between work, recovery, family. You have no time for anyone to slow you down or add anything to your plate. It is full with your own maintenance, your own well-being, and with what you need to be a mom to those kids. So I encourage you, as always, only allow people around you who lighten that load, who actively work to assist you in carrying what you carry. If they add weight or slow you down, they don't belong in the inner circle. They might be okay outside the inner circle as loose acquaintances, but the inner circle, man, you got to be choosy because it's not just about you, it's about your kids. So I know all of that's pretty easy for me to say, but I'm confident that if you keep doing what you have begun with us, that these challenges are all going to work out for you. Your ex, frankly, is counting on you getting worn out, or even worse, getting comfortable and messing something up here. But you're going to avoid that by keeping your program strong, and also by continuing to do the work. On my paper, that's in all caps, the work. It doesn't stop now. You know this is just the beginning. And the good news for you is that James and the rest of the team remain fully available to you. I hope you continue to take good advantage of that don't take your eye off the ball. Now maybe when you need treatment support more than ever. That's certainly been true for a lot of the folks who've gone before you. We're all here for you, and that continues full force. So don't misunderstand what we mean when we say you move on today, because you don't necessarily lose access to anything that you need, okay? So with that, I'll say on behalf of the whole team, we're incredibly proud of what you've started here, and we're ready to keep our sleeves rolled up and help you with whatever you might need to keep that moving forward. So congratulations, Ms. Reeves.
Thank you.
And I will note that you have a certificate with the autographs of a few of us waiting for you at DLC. So you can reach out to your case manager and they can tell you when and how to swing by and pick that up, that memento. And with that, speaking of DLC, I will turn it over to James from treatment to say a few words about treatment.
So many wonderful things to say. First, it is awesome to see you, and I know how much you've been looking forward to, moving on. And I think it is of note to mention some of your accomplishments, the accomplishments that you've made in terms of your own program of recovery. I think the most notable accomplishment, however, is the growth that you've experienced as a strong, independent woman in recovery. I think that is becoming your biggest and largest and most powerful asset. And I hope that you will continue to leverage that. And as we all know, recovery does not happen in a vacuum. Recovery isn't something gained by staring at a computer screen. It's gained by being active and involved, connected, giving back to the community, doing things that not necessarily we'd like to do, but we have to do because it keeps you sober. Sometimes it's for that hour, sometimes it's for the day. And that's something that I think you have focused on, and that's something that I think you have built some very powerful skill sets. My only word of caution is once we gain a certain level of expertise in an area when it comes to recovery, sometimes we can forget some of the prices that we had to pay to get that. So I want you to keep ever mindful of some of the prices that you've paid, and balance that with some of the wonderful, amazing accomplishments that you've been able to execute. And I just want to congratulate you again. Thank you.
Thank you, James.
Really nicely stated, James. Thank you for that. So, Ms. Reeves, I will give you the microphone now, your story of experience, strength, and hope.
I'm really nervous, so. My name's Lisette. I'm an alcoholic. So I was born into a pretty normal family. My parents came from Cuba when they were teenagers, and they worked really hard, and they built an amazing life for me and my brother. However, I did grow up like really sheltered. My parents were really strict. I wasn't allowed to do anything. So high school was pretty much just school and extracurricular activities. But when I got to college, I was still 17. I was the baby of the class, having a November birthday. But I just wanted to fit in. Like, I wanted to have friends. So that's always been my downfall, I think. So I started drinking because that was what everybody else did. I didn't realize that I was taking it to an extreme. I would black out on a regular basis. Figured it was just, it's parties. That's what everybody does. So I thought, if people are smoking weed, I'm not going to do that. So I had a lot of not yets, and I definitely accomplished throughout my life, most of them. I did end up becoming quite a heavy smoker. Work, when I obviously failed out of school and had to move back home, I would work, smoke before work, smoke during work, on break, after work. That was just all I did. I met my ex-husband when I was 22. He was that bad boy and that attraction to him, I guess. 3 weeks later, we were married. So I definitely jumped the gun on that one. He was the first introduction to hard drugs for me. Heroin, cocaine, all that kind of fun stuff. So it was an abusive relationship, but it was also a relationship of convenience. I needed him, he needed me. Nobody really wants to go through all that running alone. So it was nice to have each other, I guess. We did always drag each other down though. It was inevitable. One of us tried to do the right thing, the other one would inevitably pull him back in. We thought we could escape everything after we had a little legal situation in Jersey and moved to Florida. My parents had retired down here. We already had one child at this time who was 2.5. This was in 2011. So we moved down here, and within about 2 months, I was pregnant with my second son. A week after he was born, my ex-husband tells me that he had been using again, that our neighbor was his dealer, and so it was right next door. And of course, I fell back in as well. That led to about 4 years, I'd say, 3 or 4 years of getting separated and back together and clean and not clean and just back and forth a lot. Eventually we got divorced. He lived with his parents down here for about a year and then moved back to Jersey, and I lived with my parents. So then it was that, I guess, depression of living with my parents with 2 kids, doing everything myself. I had left the restaurant business for the first time in my life and was working as a phlebotomist, so around needles. Who would have thought that was a bad idea? Inevitably, of course, I was using again. I lost my job. I went an entire year convincing my parents that I was going to work every day. I wasn't. I spent the entire day, every day, just out and about around town doing whatever I needed to do to be able to get high. Eventually got arrested. I'd been driving on a suspended license for like 2.5 years or something at that point. I don't recommend that. I ended up on probation, and my ex-husband had come down pretty much about a month after I got arrested, took the kids, got an emergency order to take the kids, and they let him take them immediately in the middle of the school year back to New Jersey. So I was actually clean for a few months after that, until Mother's Day weekend. And one of my kids said something to me on the phone, and I lost it. And I ended up waking up in an ambulance that night. I guess that didn't really scare me enough to not get high again immediately after that. And I went on like I guess it was about 2-month run, and I had a violation of probation obviously hanging over my head, and I had tried all kinds of outpatient treatments and detoxes, and never inpatient. I never went inpatient anywhere, not even back in Jersey. So I figured, let me give David Lawrence a try, and I went all the way and went to detox and Crossroads. And initially when I went into Crossroads, my intention was just to get clean for legal reasons, just to get the kids back. Everything was just to make everything better at the time. I really don't know. To this day, I still say it. I don't know what changed while I was in there. The first week, I didn't hear anything. I was distracted by other things, other people, everything around me, and not looking inwards at all. And I started realizing, utilizing the people that work there, I'm so incredibly grateful for the people that work there, how much they fought to get me in there, because I tried twice. And while I was in there, there's a couple of people that I, to this day, still keep in touch with. The fact that they took us to outside meetings, mostly AA, which is the reason that I've stuck with that fellowship, because that's where I feel I belong. I built a family with the people that I met while I was in Crossroads. And like you said, your inner circle, my inner circle is on this screen. So there, you know, I could not be more grateful for those two people right there and the one in the other room. So about 3 months after Crossroads, it was my 3-month anniversary, the day I pled in to drug court. I mean, drug court, the accountability, the support that they give us with the connection with DLC, with James and Ashley, who's gone now, I guess, but Brooke and Nikki and Jason, everybody. I've been through a lot in the last, well, now I have 18 months. I lost the trial for the kids. I had less than 6 months when I ended up in the hospital needing surgery, which I went through without any painkillers or anything. Thankfully for drug court, because if it wasn't for drug court, I mean, we all know less than 6 months, anybody would use that as an excuse. Went through a breakup. You all kind of know that story, but you know, all that worked out. I haven't found a reason to give up my life yet. So none of those things are worth my life. I have a relationship with my family now. My brother was actually just here this weekend. It's the first time I've seen him since he moved back to New Jersey. I'd say about 3.5 years since I've seen him. And probably since I was pregnant with my first son, since he's with my second son, sorry, since he's seen me sober. So that was really awesome. Like, to just even sit down and have dinner with the whole family. Like, I couldn't be more grateful to be able to experience that. I have a job I love. I'm back in the restaurant business since I got out of Crossroads. But as you all know already, I always look for a place where I feel safe, where I have support. And I definitely have that. My friends, like I said, people on this screen, I have hope today that everything will work out. Even when I have moments where I'm stressed out and I don't know how something's going to work out, it always does. One way or the other, I get an answer. Sometimes I don't like it, but it is what it is. And acceptance is definitely big in my life. But right now, it's just the gratitude that I have for my life today and the life that recovery has given me. It's immeasurable. And I think that's all I've got. I just want to say thank you to all of you.
Ms. Reeves, well done. Thank you for that. It's I know that's not easy to do, but we're so appreciative on behalf of all the young ladies who just got to benefit from hearing from you today as they move forward on their journeys. I know that's a priceless gift, so thank you. And I'm excited now to ask your friend Carol if she would like to unmute and say a few words on your behalf.
Hi, I'm Carol, and I'm also an alcoholic.
Hi, Carol.
Lisette, like the whole time you were speaking, I had chills. Like, we've always had this connection, and I like finally realized what it was. It's like we have the same story. We have been through the same things from the time we were growing up to the time we are at now, and that, I think, is what recovery is all about, is connecting with other people, because we didn't have those connections growing up. like we do now. I am so dang proud of you. You have just been the sunshine in my life. I'm so glad that you are my friend. And and for me, that's a big thing, to have friends. And I consider you a friend, almost like a best friend, because I can tell you anything and I believe you could tell me anything. And for me, that's really big in my recovery too. The growth that I see in you over the last 18 months, like anytime anyone asks you for anything, you are right there. You have really put yourself out there, and then even telling your story and helping the newcomer and helping anyone that has asked you, even girls I've introduced you to, you are always willing to help somebody through it. And I do have, some girls in this process, and I know if I needed anybody, it would be you that I would call to help them through that, because I'm so proud of how you've come through it with all the accountability. Like I don't even know if I could do something like drug court, but I see you doing it, so that makes me feel like I could do it. And for me, that's where it's all at. So Lisette, I'm so proud of you. I plan to be in your life for a very long time, and I hope you feel the same about me. Thanks.
I love you. Thank you.
I love you too.
Carol, thank you so much for being with us today. And more importantly, thank you for all that you have given to Ms. Reeves. And I think there may have been others along the way over the years that you have helped in our program. Drug court doesn't work without fellowship, and fellowship really doesn't seem to take root without a good, strong sponsor who is tireless in her commitment to the person trying to get well. So thank you for what you have done, and we're incredibly grateful to the recovery community and all of you out there who quietly and unbeknownst to us are out there doing the real work of trying to help people get well and change their lives. We're just really just an access point for you guys. So we're thrilled to have you with us to celebrate today. And Ms. Reeves, just a little bit of housekeeping. As you know, I tend to wrap up by reminding the person in your position sort of where you stand, what comes next, and so forth. So you're finished with me. You've completed what the new handbook now calls the in-court portion of drug court, but you're still in drug court. You're still under your drug court contract. And so those rules and so forth, all the sobriety rules apply. You will stay on still with David Lawrence and with probation. David Lawrence, as you know, has an aftercare program, but part of what we've been doing with the move toward that new handbook is liberating David Lawrence to dictate treatment as the client requires and not as the court requires. So you're finished with me, but your work with David Lawrence can and should continue. So whatever James and the rest of the team set up as the treatment plan going forward, you'll work that, you'll be on probation. And then eventually, David Lawrence Center will, we set it as a minimum of 90 days, but eventually you'll all agree that you're finished with David Lawrence, they'll close you out and you'll stay on with probation. And of course, the scheme there is to make each of those steps very gradual, hopefully almost unnoticeable for you. And like I said, I think the strength of your program is really ultimately what we hope makes all of those transitions smooth. But don't leave money on the table. Take good advantage of David Lawrence Center while you continue to have that access, because I know there's a lot more that comes, especially with the transition, and I hope you'll do that. At some point down the road, the new handbook makes clear we have you go about a year from this date with probation. You can then, as long as everything's completed, send me a letter, give me a little update on what you've been up to and how your recovery is going and evolving. And you can request that I terminate the probation early. When I do ultimately decide to grant that, then my review of your contract suggests that your probation would terminate, both of your felony cases would then be over with, and you would keep, if I read everything correctly, withheld adjudication, so you don't have any felonies as a result of these two cases, as long as you continue to stay strong all the way through this. And I have every confidence, Ms. Reeves, that you will keep this program long after even the probation part ends, but just want to make sure you know where you are on the landscape and what comes from here. Do you have any questions, anything you want to clarify or state at this point?
No, I think I'm pretty good.
All right. Well, again, I thank your friends and colleagues for showing up to lend their support and be a part of the celebration. Ms. Reeves, I'm excited for you to take these next steps, and I just encourage you change as little as possible, because what you've been doing has been working very, very well. Congratulations, Ms. Reeves. Well done.
Thank you.
All right, and you are, of course, welcome to drop off the call or welcome to stick around, but we're thrilled to have gotten to celebrate with you today. Good luck.
Thank you so much again.
All right, and the other member of Phase 4 that I have today is Ms. Gonzalez, so I'll turn to you next. How are you doing this week?
Hi, Judge Martin. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Congrats. Lisette, if she's still here, I don't know, but that's awesome. I'm good. I'm excited, and I'm doing well. I actually spoke at the Young People's Meeting this past Friday, and I've spoken twice, so it hasn't been that many times that I've spoke at a meeting. But the first time I was really nervous, and I cut it short, and I didn't really, I don't know, I was uncomfortable with the way it turned out. This past Friday, I definitely understand the hype of what it is speaking at a meeting. It was amazing hearing all that feedback. I ended up talking for like 30 minutes. Everybody was coming up to me afterwards. It was just really, really, really special. It was magical. Not to sound like corny, but it was awesome.
Good.
So it was like kind of like a big stepping stone for me, and I think it's cool how this is happening at the same time that other things are happening. I'm still getting my hardship this month. Drug court's going well. All this stuff is coming together. So it's cool to kind of reap the benefits of this progress.
Yeah. I mean, you've been putting in a lot of hard work consistently, and it's really nice. I know the team enjoys it every bit as much as you do. When you can see, the fruits of your labor, when you can see things starting to fall into place as a result of that work, if you keep working and nothing's really happening, eventually you'll probably quit doing it, right?
Yeah.
So I love hearing that the speaking experience was a positive one for you. Do you have plans to follow that up and do that again?
I definitely want to. Now that I feel a little bit more, that first time was just so nerve-wracking. But it's one of those things where it kind of has to happen. This last time, it was also, I was really, really nervous, but it went well. So I feel like I would be excited about maybe speaking like at a detox center, or I don't know. I know that there's opportunities like at Willow or even David Lawrence, things like that.
Yep.
Like, I feel like that would be really cool, thing for me to do. Or, definitely. I'm definitely planning on speaking again. It was fun.
Well, and I think you've already seen just in 2 experiences that it does get easier as you go on. I know you're still nervous, but I encourage you to keep following through, because it will continue to get easier. I don't know that I can promise you'll ever be completely, nerves free, but it gets easier. You get more, you'll just feel a sense that you have more control over, okay, this is how I really want to share my story, and this is how I want to frame things up, because you're getting all that feedback about what people, what caused people to feel that connection. That connection's a lifeline. So that's really a priceless gift. And of course, you've got an opportunity to speak at this meeting, right? We're working toward that today, taking a step and having an exit interview later. Are you ready for that?
Yes, I'm ready. I'm excited.
Good. So that I don't forget, I'll mention now, just use this same link and jump back on with us right about 4:00, and the team will be with me, and we'll be off the record, but we'll have just a brief conversation. Truly nothing about which you have to be nervous, I promise.
Okay. All right, cool. Yeah, I don't really know what to expect, but I'm excited.
Well, I'm thrilled that it worked out for you to be here for Ms. Reeves today, because it's a huge benefit to watch someone else go through things, right? That's the whole concept behind fellowship in the first place. So you got a really nice benefit there. She obviously did a really, really good job in just, sharing her story and giving people hope. And I'm excited to have you prepare for and go through the same thing. I'm confident you're going to do a great job as well.
Thank you. I'm excited too.
So talk to me just a little bit while I've got the group here, and we'll probably talk more later, but what are the sorts of things that you are working on, maybe goals or things that you're looking at as you prepare to make this transition from the court portion of drug court into aftercare and beyond?
So I hear you say this often, but I feel like it's probably just going to be a very gradual change, if change at all. I think not a lot of things are going to change. I was speaking with a family member of mine, and she was like, so once you finish drug court, do you still have to do meetings and stuff? And I'm thinking like, yeah, this is my lifestyle now. It's just kind of like, this is how it's happening and this is how it happened. And I already made that decision to be sober. I want to be sober. I wouldn't want to go back to that life. So because of all of this, I was introduced to this whole new lifestyle. So I'm gonna, pretty much keep doing what I'm doing and continue. I'm so happy I have like a sponsor that has been so, I don't even know. She's just been, my rock. So I'm excited to continue to work with her, even after I'm done with my steps, and just continue to kind of grow, like be open to opportunities and things that, maybe make me feel uncomfortable, but push through them and grow through all of that. So I feel like I have a good basis.
Good.
So I'm excited about continuing my growth.
Awesome. I've got a couple of friends with over 30 years and they still keep sponsors. Obviously they do a lot of sponsoring as well, but there really isn't any point at which the old timers are gonna tell you there's no point at which you should back off or set any of these tools down. So I think you're right on target with that thinking. Who was it a second ago you said was asking about whether you'll have to keep doing meetings after drug court?
It was a cousin of mine. We don't keep in too much touch, so it was kind of funny. She's like, so are you done with all of that?
Sure.
I'm like, well, not really,
It's a really common question, and I promise I won't go after your cousin, but I did want to just sort of verify, because I know you've had a ton of family support. You've had good people around you, and it is your cousin, I think, sounds like she's outside of the inner circle, but it is really important that your inner circle does understand that really, other than weekly court appearances, there shouldn't be much that changes for you. And sometimes, I don't think you sound like you're headed this way, but sometimes family basically, once you move on, they go, okay, time's up. We've given you all of these accommodations while you're in drug court. Now I'm going to need you over here instead. And you've got to kind of go, whoa. But it doesn't sound like you're in too much danger of anybody in the inner circle doing that with you, is there?
Yeah, no, definitely not. And I, once I get my hardship and everything, I'll kind of be a little bit more on my own. And I really do feel like I'm in charge of my life. So my family, like my immediate family, has been super understanding about giving me rides. And like, it's funny because really not a lot is going to change. I'm going to continue doing therapy and everything. So not a lot is going to change, but I'm definitely kind of like taking the reins back in my life.
Yeah.
Be able to live with everyone else, and everybody will always be understanding because this is a better me,
Yeah. Well, and I think they're getting a great payoff on their investment in supporting you and getting to have a healthy, happy version of you in their lives. So that's really nice. And it goes without saying, but when you get that restricted permit, just be really strict about what you can use it for. Make sure you understand, because I've had a few people get a little too broad in their interpretation of that. Running out for cigarettes is not typically something that has been viewed to be a necessity. So I don't think that's your gig anyway, but just by way of example, make sure you understand what they tell you on that. And with that, I think, Ms. Gonzalez, I'll probably save the rest of my questions for when we speak at 4. And just excited to see you continuing to make progress, and excited to hear you say exactly what I just finished saying to Ms. Reeves, which is don't ease up at all on the work that you're doing, the treatment that you're taking good advantage of, because I'm really the only person that you should be excited to ditch after you move on. Everybody else is still there and ready, willing, and able to work to support you. So I definitely encourage you, keep taking good advantage of that like you have been.
All right, thank you, Judge.
Good. We'll see you in a little while then, Ms. Gonzalez. Keep up the good work.
All right, thank you. Bye.
Let me check in next with Ms. Flaherty.
Good afternoon, Judge.
Good afternoon, Ms. Flaherty. How are you doing?
Doing good. I feel a little under the weather today, so I'm kind of like a little groggy, but so yeah. So
I'm sorry. I saw that you were on super early, and I'm sorry I kept all of you in the waiting room for a while. We were having a connection issue, so I'm actually glad I'm not in the courthouse, because the courthouse apparently is Zoom free right now, which is a huge problem. There are a dozen courtrooms that are shut down. Ours is not, thankfully, but I'm sorry to have kept you waiting. I did notice that you were on nice and early, ready to go. Talk to me a little bit, other than feeling under the weather, what have you been up against these last few weeks, and what have you been trying to accomplish?
Okay, so work has been work. I'm still dealing with that tax situation. There was a representative that's been there on Tuesdays and Thursdays to answer any questions, which is like this non-accountant CPI. Used to be a CPI guy that's going to run it through TurboTax and see what it is. But anyways, I mean, when I felt really torn because I was one of the very few that had like went forward and in a meeting, and I felt like my bosses were a little angry that maybe I was, causing uproar or something. It did make me very uncomfortable in that first meeting, because like my real manager, the beverage manager, and my general manager wouldn't answer any questions. And then they sat there the whole time and let me, so it's like, it just made me uncomfortable. Like they were right there, but then one of them had said that, the original people like myself, that it would be figured out, whatever that meant. So I left that meeting first feeling good. And then I met with him. So then he had me get some stuff together. Like I was going to get my taxes done. And, so when we talked to the guy too, we realized that absolutely the calculation that the formula he figured out was wrong. It wasn't just that they were going to pay our taxes, for us, which they promised to do, which is they should still, they actually calculated it wrong. And my W-2 is way higher than it should have been. And it happened to multiple people. And one of them and this is the scary part. So one of the guys, he only worked like a couple bar shifts. He worked in the wine department. He ended up hiring a lawyer. He doesn't work there anymore. They fired him over a Facebook post. And if anyone knows anything about my job, my boss is really big on freedom of speech. So it's really weird that would have happened. So I don't know. So again, I'm getting nervous here. At this point, I did kind of reach out to a couple people on jobs, because I started getting nervous on this is what they want me to like not cause waves. So I met with this CPI guy, and it didn't go so well. So it sounded like they were gonna, if I owe $7,000, they're gonna help me, but with some deductions. So let's take $3,500 out for the child you should have claimed, even though my mom claimed her. And like, the stimulus that you got, that's $1,800 off, so there's gonna be these ways. That's what I'm getting from what's happening every meeting I go to with this guy. But a friend of mine that I work with, who has developed a relationship with the owner of the store, Alfie, pulled me into a meeting on Sunday night, and apparently went to bat for me and told him, that this is like, Crystal's not one of the people you want, to lose. And he had given me his word that I will not have to worry. So if it had to come out of his own pocket, everything will be okay. My problem is I just need the W-2 amended. I don't want to check, because I do have Medicaid. You know, he was kind of telling me things like, you know, well, it's time for you to grow up and, you know, join the human race. This was the CPI telling me this. And, you know, that I should make these choices for me and my daughter. It's not his choice to make, you know. Medicaid does work very well with drug court and everything. So I was nervous, and then I think everything's going to be okay, but I still don't know for sure. So that's kind of up in the air. What else? My sponsor. So I did have like a kind of situation that happened I brought up in group in my life, where somebody that was in my life, who I refer to as my sugar daddy, who I cut off because it was an unhealthy relationship, but still is something that I deal with internally, had like worked himself in my life once again through a best friend of mine that I had not connected with in a long time because she was active. And, you know, I couldn't figure out what was going on. But at first I got, you know, it was just a, you know, like a life stressor. I got upset about it. I was angry about it. It was kind of like I was saying to Brooke, like, you know, I always had him in my back pocket, you know, because he promised me this life that, you know, if I ever wanted, like, you know, I wouldn't have to work. I wouldn't have to worry, you know, just come be with him. And, you know, and even though it's very unhealthy, like he's been in my life for 11 years. I've been trying to get sober for 12. So,
those are probably related facts.
Yeah, exactly. So you can do the math. I actually was the first time I really utilized my sponsor. As Brooke will tell you, no, she's not on, that I really need to like test people, but I'm not trying to, but it ends up happening this way. And I was thinking about this when other people were talking and what I was going to say. And it's like, I felt like I kind of got a sponsor, and it was great, and I liked her, and I was doing it because everybody told me to, but this time, like, I really needed her, and she showed me, like, you know, that, like, I get it, you know, like, what this relationship is all about. You know, we had, like, a 2-hour dinner, we occupied a table at a restaurant, you know, the guy was okay with it, so, for way too long, and, you know, we were just together, and I left there feeling a little lighter, you know, I know that I'm gonna be okay, you know, but, so, yeah, I don't know why. So that was good. And, so she's been giving me little assignments, keeping me accountable, and then, family stuff, everything's been pretty fine, you know, normal, I would say. She's been doing good. She got accepted into Mason Classical Academy. So that's I thought it was an exciting thing. She's kind of like, she got excited about it, and now we don't know if she's going to go. So that's, I think it would be really good for her, but I've heard it's kind of like really, really strict, where they have to like hold their hands and they can't talk in the hallway and all this. So I don't know how well she's going to do there, but she's really artsy, and, you know, I would hope that going into 8th grade, this would be a great transition if I can only convince her somehow to get there. So as of right now, we're signed up and we're ready to go. So, so that's good. And she's been doing really good this week and the last week. You know, of course, one day we'll have a harder day, but I haven't had any issues where she hasn't gone to school or she hasn't done her homework. We usually work out a bargain, but it's costing me a lot of money. But other than that, things have been actually pretty good. So yeah.
Good. Well, I want to circle back to 2 things that you talked about. I think that's a really a good update. I know there's a lot of challenging stuff in there, but what I'm more focused on is kind of how are you handling it? How sort of self-aware are you about your, you know, your vulnerabilities, what we might call character defects or whatever. And I think in what you just related to me, you're just really on point, even though some of that stuff I know is pretty challenging. I'm thrilled to hear that you're starting to really unlock the power of a good sponsor. It sounds like you're one of the lucky ones who has a good sponsor. That's another, I use this analogy a lot, but I know I just told Ms. Reeves, you know, don't leave any money on the table, right? Get everything you can from treatment. The sponsor is a pile of money on the table too. Get everything you can from that sponsor to learn how to live sober. Because if you have a good sponsor, and it sounds like you do, just putting, you know, going through the motions and phoning it in is such a ripoff to yourself. And so I'm really glad that you're unlocking that relatively early in your journey here. The toxic relationship, you know, I can't possibly overstate the team support for you being brutally honest with yourself about what's a healthy relationship and what isn't. And so I applaud you for making what I know was a difficult decision. You don't go 12 years without having some pretty significant emotional baggage and ties there. I want to note that treatment, I think, has involved once a month or something, a representative of the shelter. But I want to note that for all of you, anytime at no charge, you have available to you counselors who will be more than happy to sit down and do a little bit of healthy relationship work. Our counselors are obviously very, very good as well. But if you ever wanted to just bend a different ear, do a little work on what I know sometimes they call a bad picker, right? Because the reality is toxic relationships do grow on trees, and you can get rid of one only to replace it with another one if you don't figure out, okay, what was it about that drew me in, and how do I avoid getting suckered a second time? So think about the possibility that you've got a free resource there if you want it.
Actually, on that subject, I did actually reach out to Brooke for Val Fisher's contact information, and we spoke yesterday and made, we decided that she was going to do an intake. So I told her the days I'm off, and they're going to call hopefully this week. So it would be an extra thing, I kept going back and forth with it. Like, I know I need to go, but it's an extra thing on my plate. But I know that, I didn't even know how that, the thing that scared me the most was how I didn't know how to act in front of my daughter, and I don't know how to teach her to be in a normal relationship or a healthy relationship because I don't know how. I know that I'm not supposed to, but I know what the turmoil between my head and not even my heart. I don't even know, because I don't love him. It's just, I know that it's just, a lot of workings, like you said, a lot of time. And so yeah, I know that that's something I should do. I've done before, but I never really followed through. So I know that that's out there, and I hope that that I'll be able to utilize that with everything I have going on right now while I have the opportunity. So,
well, I think that, sorry guys, Jason's message was to me, not to the others. I've just answered you, Jason. I think that there's a really great point that you just made there, which is that, if not for yourself, then for your daughter. And you've picked up on something really important and powerful, which is she's learning how to relate to significant others by watching you and by watching your mother. So making sure that you're really setting the example that you would want her to follow, that's a great motivator to make a little extra room in your schedule. And we'll talk about that in just a second. The other point I wanted to make is just to encourage you. I'm really sorry to hear what you're going through with work. I hope that, as you said, it's taken care of, but don't take your eye off that ball. And if you have any concern, you really should speak to an attorney. It may all be perfectly fine. I just would feel better that you get that verified by someone who is on your side and not representing the company. So a possible avenue might be legal aid. I think you might qualify for them, and they might be able to at least give you a consultation or refer you to someone who could give you a consultation. And the other thing, I know there are these larger law firms that advertise that do wage and so forth law, so you could contact them. And then a third idea, and I think the case managers have this information, or else you could Google it, but the Florida Bar has a free legal advice helpline email. So you can submit a question, and a volunteer lawyer can pick that up and hit it back to you with an answer, and that's at no cost. So either legal aid, a law firm that does this work, that they won't charge you to consult with them, those types of firms, or the Florida Bar helpline, which is online. Just Google, like I said, the Florida Bar free legal advice, and I think you're going to get the link to submit a question there. They had I don't know, tens of thousands of questions successfully answered in 2020. I just saw the stats on it. It's really, really a good service. So make sure you get that. And then the last thing, because I'm rambling on, sorry. I just want to make sure you're protected. The last thing is this. We're going to be able to help, I think, a little bit with that schedule, because with the help of your incentive that you earned at the half marathon, we're going to move you to phase 3 today. So congratulations.
Thank you. It's awesome.
So off the top of my head, I don't recall exactly what that does to adjust your schedule, but I think it alleviates a little bit. But I think also you can and should talk to treatment about once you meet with Vail, if Vail proposes, for example, something once a week, then talk to treatment and see, how y'all want to flesh out a plan, and see if it's something that's workable. Or treatment may say, look, let's have you do that after next month, whatever you guys figure out. But I would love to see you take advantage of that, because I think you're really onto something, and probably just a little bit of support and really it's education on some of that stuff can break what might otherwise be a cycle that, you're trying to stay clean, but if you keep finding unhealthy relationships, it's probably the number one reason that our ladies end up getting set back on their journeys. So let's deal with it. Let's help you deal with it. Okay.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Anything else that you wanted to address with us?
No, that's it. No, thank you so much.
Well, like I said, I think it's a really good update. I think there's some really cool, great stuff that's coming into focus for you. And I think what you're seeing with your daughter is some positive response to how well her mom's doing. So you've got great reasons to stick with it and keep doing what you're doing, and let us know if we can help in any way. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Congratulations on the phase. Well done. I'm thrilled to be able to hand out those rewards based on your hard work. Great job.
Thank you so much.
All right. And next, let me touch base with Ms. Sisemski.
Good afternoon, Judge Martin.
Good afternoon. How are you doing this week?
I'm doing well.
What have you been working on?
Let's see. We have finally passed step 6. I'm going to start step 7 this week or next week.
Okay.
I've been working on my story. I think I'll be ready to. I was sick last week, and I was just busy yesterday. So I think I'll be going to the Willow next Monday to share my story.
Okay.
So that is the plan.
Okay, that's good stuff. You heard me talking to Ms. Gonzalez. It's just getting that first time out of the way and kind of pushing through the nerves. You're going to be so thrilled. I'm confident that you're going to get good feedback and that you're going to really have a positive impact like you want to. So don't overthink it.
No.
I do say prepare so that you can ratchet down your own nerves. But you know your story, and you know what's been helpful for you to hear. So you have as good a viewpoint as anyone as to what you need to do with that. You're going to be fine.
Yeah.
Good.
Not really much to report. My sister's been in the hospital for about 2 weeks now. It's the last phase of chemo for her, though.
Okay.
So hopefully this will be the last hospitalization.
Okay.
Other than that, I'm just kind of been working and meetings, and it's not a lot to report, which is always, it's not necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah, and I think that's fine. I think that, we've talked about this a few times, that having that consistency and that stability is a tremendous gift. So don't worry. That's dazzling in and of itself, I promise. And I'll suggest a goal to you. I don't ever want to micromanage, but in my experience, 5, 6, and 7 are steps that, with some diligence, people can pretty well, get those worked. I would love to see you digging into, if you and your sponsor agree, I'd love to see you digging into 8 and 9 while you're still here in our program with access to all this support. Have you thought about that a little bit?
Yes, that is the plan.
Okay.
Every other week I have Tuesday off. I have Monday and Tuesday off. So we were finally, I've been done with step 6, we just hadn't really gone into step 7. I think we're gonna do 7 and 8 together, and then I'm gonna start working on step 9. I just, with work and stuff, I kind of got stalled.
Okay.
It's season hit. She works in the restaurant industry too, so it was just finding time. And that's step work stuff I like to really sit down and go over in person.
Sure.
So that's all it really was. But I totally agree. The amends and all of that is stuff that I definitely would like to have extra support for.
Yeah, and by no means do I suggest that you gloss over 5, 6, and 7, but they are ones that typically don't take a huge time commitment the way really 4, 8, and 9 are their own deals. So
yes,
you've done the work in 4. You really put that in. So I'm optimistic that your work on 8 and 9 is going to flow nicely. It sounds like you've got a nice groove going with this sponsor, and you've made good use of her time and support. So just a goal I like to suggest when folks are in the position that you're in. I think it's going to be a really positive one.
I agree.
Anything else that you wanted to address or that we can be doing to help?
No, I'm getting everything I need.
Okay. All right. Well, as you get deeper into the program, sometimes people get less good at asking for help and speaking up. So don't let that happen. Don't hesitate to let us know if you need something, okay?
No.
Good. Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
And Ms. Flaherty, I forgot to mention, and I should mention just simply that with the move to phase 3, I have signed an order that lifts your curfew. So you do also have that. For some reason, I almost always forget to mention that to people. But I know, especially my parents out there tend to go, it doesn't really matter.
It doesn't affect me. I'm not trying to go out. It's just the work thing. That's all. It just is an extra stressor. So I promise I will not be running around town. I'll just be working, and my life is not going to change at all. So.
Good. Yeah. And that's my encouragement to everybody in your position is be thoughtful about anything that keeps you out past 10. You've done a great job with that. And that's sort of why we set up the curfew the way we do. We've done it, structured it probably 6 different ways over my tenure, but I think it's working well the way it is right now. And after 6 months, I think you've learned really, what safe spaces and safe people are, and you can navigate that. And so that little bit of extra freedom, and as you said, a little bit of reduction in things to worry about is hopefully something you can manage very safely now.
Yes, absolutely.
Good. Well, congratulations again. I just wanted to make sure I brought that up.
Yeah, thank you.
And let me turn then to Ms. Sweeney.
Hi, Judge. How are you?
I'm doing okay, and I'm just going to note for the record that I have excused Ms. LaBeouf at treatment's request to address a treatment need. So
I'm sorry.
That's okay. I just wanted to let Court Smart know that I was not going to be speaking to Ms. LaBeouf. Otherwise, they look at me like, what did you just do? So Ms. Sweeney will be our final participant to speak with today. Ms. Sweeney, welcome back.
Thank you, Judge. Right there. Hi. Oh, here. Can you hear me?
I can. Yep. I can
Okay.
also hear whoever else is in the room with you.
Yes, I'm going to step outside. I'm in a new sober house.
Okay.
And so one of the other residents just came home from the hospital. So can you still hear me? I want to make sure my connection is good out here.
Yep.
I do apologize.
I can hear you right now. That's fine.
Okay.
So tell me a little bit about what you've been working on and how your experience was in Crossroads.
Oh my goodness, my experience in Crossroads was amazing. I am so grateful that the team sent me there. I had a wonderful experience. Everyone in there, all the counselors and clinicians in there and the techs, they're all so wonderful. I got a new sponsor, and through AA, I decided to switch to AA.
Okay.
And so I worked steps 1 and 2. in treatment with my sponsor. I am working on step 3 now. We're going to go over that probably this weekend and then get right into step 4.
Okay.
So I'm super excited to be doing that work.
Okay.
And I still have my job, so I'm going back to work tomorrow.
Great.
They're very excited to, you know, they know about my situation. They're willing to work with me. The person at my work that was the problem is no longer working there.
Okay.
And so a lot of things have fallen into place. I have such a better understanding of my relationship with my higher power.
Okay.
And I've also, I've found a purpose, which I've never in my life had. I feel like God put something on my heart that is now going to be my purpose, and that's going to be advocacy for people in recovery to help change the language from substance abuser to substance use disorder, which you guys use, but a lot of people don't, and to advocate for recovery, for change. So people don't just see the addiction side of it, they see the recovery side of it too. And the main thing I can do for that right now is just to stay clean and to complete this program and to just take it slow and get, you know, I'm gonna have a powerful story. I didn't understand why I went through all the things that I've gone through in my life, and now I understand why.
Okay.
And so a lot of things happened in treatment. It was a wonderful experience. I was so against going. And when I finally accepted that that was exactly where I needed to be, like, everything was amazing.
Yeah. Well, good. I'm thrilled to hear it. I'm not at all surprised to hear it. That has been, I've gotten almost the exact same feedback about Crossroads from everyone who's gone. And so I'm a big believer. I know that most people go in reluctant. Most people think, I don't really need this. That's the old thinking coming through. But if you hang in there, some really powerful stuff can start to happen. So I'm thrilled that you were able to experience that.
Oh yeah. So I do appreciate the whole team, like everybody. And Brooke and Nikki and James all really like had my back the whole way.
Okay.
And it was such a blessing.
Okay. Well, and I'm thrilled, and I want to talk to you a little bit about sort of the pathway forward.
Okay.
Remember, you're in the position you're in because you were fairly promptly honest as far as you got yourself an opportunity to stay in our court and have this access. And I have to tell you, the treatment recommendation initially was for you to do a longer program. You're probably aware of that because I know we've been doing some applications. And at the moment, a longer program has not yet become available. So treatment has been very flexible and very quick to adjust. And I know there's a game plan currently set up for you to continue what you've started and work, I think, with IOP and stay in sober living and so forth. So, and all of that's fine. My message to you is this: treatment is going to do what they're clinically required to, which is to continually reassess your needs. And it's possible, we're hopeful, that the game plan you're currently working on is going to prove to be a good game plan for you.
Yes.
But I want to reinforce that you are still under a very strict obligation to do everything that they request that you do in order to continue to enjoy the benefit of your honesty, okay? Because being honest about a relapse will get you with treatment, but then part 2 of that is you got to do everything treatment says. If you're not following through at some point, and you haven't had a problem yet, I just want to make sure.
Oh, absolutely. And
If
I
you're not following
understand that if I am required to do long term at some point, I am absolutely willing to do that.
Yeah.
But I do appreciate them working with me and being flexible. So I'm open to whatever needs to happen.
Okay, good. And I think that's
Whatever that may be.
the right attitude, and that's all I can really ask is that you keep that attitude. You know, the focus that you've shown, and certainly your comments to me today, are on point. So I just want to support that and encourage that. I know I'm going to talk about one last thing that may be a little bit touchy because it's probably none of my business, but I'm going to encourage you to really use this time to work on you.
Yeah.
Okay. We've talked before about relationships and other people and people coming in and out of your life and so forth. And you are back in the community. There isn't any legal order keeping you from your husband or your husband from you. And your husband's not under my jurisdiction. He's under my colleagues. But my hope is that you will just work on you right now and give him the space to work on him. If you guys care about each other, and I trust that you do, that's the best way to handle that. So you need to be incredibly tight about people, places, and things. And that includes him, even if he's the greatest guy ever, he's got work to do, and so do you. So is that something you think that you can fairly do? Is that a fair request?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I am totally in agreement with that.
Okay, good. The team supports that. Like I said, I can't order it, but if I could, I would. And
I understand.
I just, at the end of the day, it's probably very, very good that I no longer run the other court that your husband's enjoying, because it allows me to be completely focused and dedicated to your success. And it is in the commitment to your success that I offer that little bit of advice to just focus on you right now, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Good. I appreciate your maturity and your focus in accepting that suggestion, because to the extent that you can really incorporate that, I think there's unlimited promise in what lies ahead for you. You've got incredible resources behind you. You've got incredible resources ahead of you. And you really just need to stay the course and keep putting in the work, and you're gonna do great.
Thank you.
Anything that you want to address?
No, I want you to know that I really do appreciate this opportunity. And I do understand the gravity of the people around me and how important it is that I work on myself. And there will be no sneaky, lying crap. I'm not there. I'm not for that. So
Yeah.
I wish you could order that. Like, I would totally follow that. So I'm good with that. I'm good with everything, just
Good.
so you know.
Good. Well, I appreciate that. And like I said, I think your attitude is right where it needs to be. If you continue to put the effort in, then you're gonna feel the progress. You're gonna work your way through the current challenges and get yourself really to something that's going to be lasting and beautiful for yourself. So I know there's some challenges right now, but hang in there and stay focused on what matters. Okay.
I will. Thank you.
Good. Okay. Well, with that, I think I'll go ahead and wrap up and give the team a short recess before we talk to the men in a few minutes. Ladies, you're doing great things. Each of you is doing amazing things in your own way. Keep trying to help each other where you can, and keep pushing yourself to reach new goals. I'm proud of your progress. Keep it up, ladies. Have a good week. And team, I'm going to let the gentleman in, and we'll have a brief recess. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Drug Court. I'm Judge Martin. I am excited not to have any announcements today, so I'm going to jump right in. And let me start this week with Mr. Gonzalez. I started last week with Mr. Gonzalez, and it wasn't much fun at all. So let's do this over, Mr. Gonzalez. How are you doing this week?
I'm doing all right, Your Honor. Am I in the hot seat again?
No, sir. No, sir. Quite the opposite. I wanted to call you first to highlight again that reiterate what I said last week. I don't know how I could possibly have asked you to respond better to a really difficult situation than what you did. So you've got it behind you now. What's your mindset now? What are you focusing on?
To be 100% honest, I spent a lot of that week trying to figure out what the lesson I was supposed to have learned. I had a couple setbacks, not in my recovery, but I had a family member pass away while I was in there. And I also, my daughter's mother is under the influence that I'm using, so she won't let me talk to my daughter. So I've got some things that I'm working on that kind of put me back mentally a little bit. I'm doing everything I can to get back to where I was before I went in. I'm almost there. I had some issues that I had to straighten out with some people. I think everything got worked out and settled, and I'm just working on getting back to where I was and continue to grow and be as successful as I can in this.
Okay. I think that's a good answer. And I'm sorry to hear that you had a setback with regard to access to your daughter, and hopefully that will not be something that continues for very long. But there's, and I know you know this, there's aspects of this over which you have control, and there's aspects of this over which you have no control. And I think you're doing a good job of figuring out which is which. And keeping your focus there. So I just encourage you to continue with that. There was something else that you just mentioned that with work and everything, were you able to maintain your? Are you able to hear me?
I'm sorry, ma'am. I was getting a phone call and you cut out. What were you saying? I'm sorry.
Sure. I just wanted to make sure. Were you fouled up at all with your job or anything along those lines?
Not really. I mean, they know the situation. They have full confidence that I didn't use and everything. Whatever happened, and
right.
it set us back a little bit, and I lost out on a side job opportunity. But everything's fine. I was planning on finishing up paying my restitution by today. I wasn't able to because I didn't work last week. So I'll get that all situated next week. I did have a question though, I don't know if you can kind of guide me or point me in the right direction. The victim in one of my cases is my sister, and she had reached out to my mom saying that I needed to follow up with announcing or let it go down the proper channels, that she no longer wants to have the no contact or the no trespassing order. So how do I go? What do I need to do?
Were you with Public Defender's Office? I think you were, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So I would refer you to your attorney, who can help coordinate that with the state attorney to whatever needs to be done to verify her wishes. You don't want to get involved in relaying messages back and forth. Mr.
No, absolutely not.
Anything that you want to chime in on that?
The alleged victim has reached out to me yesterday. I called her back, missed bases with her, and she called me again today, but I'm waiting to hear. I emailed Ms. Farrell, although I'm having some email issues with her. So I'm just waiting to see from how Ms. Farrell wants to deal with it. But I did get a message from her that she didn't want us to sign no contact and no trespass. So she is working with that.
Okay, good. So, Mr. Gonzalez, and thank you, Mr. Darrow. It sounds like the proper channels are in the works, which is that your sisters reached out to Mr. Darrow, and he and Ms. Farrell can have a conversation on that and see what might be needed. ultimately they'll let me know if it's not controversial. They can get me an order that lifts that no contact order. But if for whatever reason the state attorney may wish to have that stay in place or maybe just modified, they'll let me know, and Mr. Darrow can keep you informed. Okay.
Okay, thank you so much. I also had one other question. I'm not trying to push the envelope. You know, I had acquired 2 incentives. I know I know I had that sanction. Did I lose out? Did I lose out on those incentives now?
No, I have not spoken specifically with the team about that, but I had, I think, at least one other person in a similar situation. And no, it just may, I've got to see, you're in new handbook phase 2. So no, I think, again, subject to somebody on the team raising an issue with me, we haven't discussed it, but it would be my thought that when we get to that point, so you've got, for example, a 2-week incentive, and when you get to when you would be 2 weeks shy of your next phase, if you're in good standing, then I expect to be able to move you ahead early as promised. I'll need to just double check that with the team, but I don't think under these circumstances we would be looking to wipe any of that out. It just would have, it actually, the timing is good. It could potentially have postponed your use of that incentive, but I don't think we're in that range yet anyway. So I think you're probably in good shape.
Okay, thank you so much.
The other one was it a curfew?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so you can set that up with probation. Mr. Darrow, did you have another thought?
I just asked him, Mr. Gonzalez, to give me a call tomorrow and leave me his phone number. I apologize. Somehow the paper that I had it written on, I didn't put it in my computer, so I will keep you updated on the status.
I actually left you a voicemail maybe an hour ago. I called and left you a voicemail giving you my number, so it should be on there. If not, I'll call again and try again.
I'll look. If you don't hear from me within the next couple days, call me.
Okay, thank you.
Very good. Excellent. Thanks, everybody. Well, good. So, Mr. Gonzalez, I know I said this last week, but last week was a lot harder than this week. So I'll reiterate that from the standpoint of the team, whenever we impose a sanction, if it's accepted by the participant, we impose the sanction, and once the sanction's completed, we just face forward. And so I know I said to you last week, when you come out, it's with a clean slate, and we just worry about going forward from there. And so that's where you are now. And I understand from the team, you got out, immediately made the requested contacts, and got back to work. So to my knowledge, you're back on track, and I just encourage you to keep doing everything that you had been doing in terms of staying focused and asking for help when you need it, okay?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Anything that you wanted to clarify or anything else that you need from us?
Not really. The thought did come, I briefly shared last week how while I had those other emotions and feelings toward it, I was grateful for where I am, because that would have been an excuse, for me back then to relapse and everything, and this even further, I still haven't, had that desire or the thought or even thought that was the path to take. So again, I'm grateful for where I'm at. It's just a setback, but I've got a great come up to come from here, so it's all good.
There you go. And it's I think, Mr. Gonzalez, you came to us with the gift of desperation, and you've kept a very solid grip on that. And I will tell you, it's early yet, but I'm really hopeful that when we get to the point of having your exit interview, I have one with a young lady today. When we get to that point, I'm hopeful that you're in a position to look back over your time in drug court and say that was a moment, it was a challenge, and that you end up being very proud of the way that you handled it, and that you use it as you figure out what the lessons are and you use it to propel yourself forward. That's always our hope whenever we have to impose a sanction like that. So keep doing what you're doing. You're on track.
Okay, thank you so much, ma'am.
Good. All right, let me touch base next. I'm trying to keep this fairly random, guys. Everybody's in good shape today. Let me talk to Mr. Leyva next. Mr. Leyva?
Yes, Your Honor.
There There you are. Mr. Leva, how are you doing this week?
I'm doing pretty good. How about yourself, Yana?
Good, good. Tell me what you've been working on. How have you been adjusting to the program?
I mean, I've been working on getting my license. My license. I've been working on getting close to my family. So it's been kind of frustrating day, but I mean, everything's been good. Just trying to understand the program better.
Okay.
And I've been focused. My vision is really clear, and I'm just focusing on what I have to do.
Okay. Are you asking for help if you need anything?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Everybody been able to help you when you've asked for it?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
Good. All right. And how are you doing in terms of keeping track of everything you've got to do? How's your organizational work going?
Perfect. Everything is perfect. I started working yesterday.
Okay.
I couldn't make it to work today because my mom had an accident and my kids were inside the car, and they still at the hospital right now.
Okay.
But yeah, everything is been great. Everything is really. Besides that, everything's been great. Like I said, I'm really focused, and my vision is clear, really clear, and
Okay.
I'm just keep going, keep pushing it.
Where did you end up getting a job?
Barrio Cuts. That's a barbershop.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Is that part of your background? Have you got a background in barber work?
Yeah, I got it back. Yeah.
Because I noticed a lot of guys look like they're all cleaned up today. You've been giving haircuts in drug court?
No, not yet.
Everybody looks like they've been into a barbershop this week. Every last one of you.
Yeah, that's good though.
All right. Everybody's looking sharp. Okay, well, good. So you think that's going to be a good setting for you? Are they going to be able to work with your schedule?
Yeah, definitely. I work. I got my own schedule, so I rent a station, so I make my own schedule, so it wouldn't be a problem.
Okay. All right. Well, it sounds like a good fit then.
Yes, ma'am.
I've had some barbers in drug court before, and yeah, the flexibility of scheduling appointments, it tends to work pretty well as long as, like I said before, you've got things pretty organized, and you said you're pretty good on getting organized.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Yes,
good.
Ma'am.
Okay. You need anything from us, Mr. Leva?
Not at this moment, ma'am.
Okay. You're off to a good start. Keep it up and ask for help if you need it, okay?
I will. Thank you.
All right. Let me turn to Mr. Mullen. Mr. Mullen, how are you doing this week? You are on mute.
I'm doing well, Your Honor. I couldn't ask for more. I'm blessed right now. I've got a place to live, which is, my mom's old house. I've got somebody that takes me down to my drug test in the morning before work, which is my girlfriend, which I'm blessed to have her to do that because, that's $22 each way. I'm out in the estate. So it's a real blessing. The downside of everything is that the job that I was supposed to get, the district manager called me yesterday and told me that it's just so slow that he has no work. So now I'm going to have to switch gears. I've also been trying to get my license, my hardship license, and their correspondence is through email. And I've emailed them, and they do have a phone number as well. And I call it, just rings and rings, nobody answers. I've sent like 4 emails, and I don't know if they're real busy or if they just make it hard for you to get one. I don't know, but so that's kind of making it hard on the getting a job and where I'm going to work. But we came up with a game plan last night in group I live like out in the Golden Gate Estates, off of Golden Gate Boulevard, and Wilson and Golden Gate Boulevard, there's a 7-Eleven, there's a hardware store, there's a Subway, there's a bunch of little places in there. I think a Bravo Market's coming in now. So I'm gonna go down there, and that's in a bike riding distance,
Okay.
So I'm gonna go down there and see what I can't stir up over there. But that's the only thing, is that I'm not making money, but at the same time, I've got a lot of stuff around here. I don't want to get into it, but I sell stuff on like Facebook Marketplace.
Okay.
And so I've been doing that, and I've been having enough money. And now that I'm not doing drugs, believe it or not, Your Honor, I've got all kinds of money. I'm not spending money anymore. It's crazy. So
it is a different economy.
So I'm happy about that. And I mean, really, I've been going to church. I've got meetings I've got some meetings that I've been going to on a regular basis now, which is Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Those 3 I've been able to make every week in person. So that's kind of getting me more connected to the recovery community. And I'm looking for a sponsor right now. I haven't found one yet. But as far as my spiritual life goes, that's doing really well. My network is super, super small. It's just family right now and the people in drug court and a couple other people that I'm friends with that are in recovery. But right now that's working. I'd like to expand that and get a bigger network, but I'm working on that. And James last night in group gave me an idea what to do for that as well. So, I can't complain about anything.
Good. Well, that's a really nice thing to be able to say. And you've only been in the program for less than a month.
Is that it?
I think that's fantastic. I know it feels like a lifetime and it feels like 2 seconds all at once. But I think you're focusing on the right things, and I'm going to encourage you to continue to take it slow, take it one day at a time, or even 1 hour at a time. And at this point, I'm okay with you keeping that circle small and being really choosy about who gets let in. It sounds like you're being smart about your company right now, and people, places, and things are going to be important for the rest of your life. But while you're brand new like this, it's especially critical that you're just very selective and very careful and cautious about that. I think it sounds like you're right on target.
Yeah, just thank God, because I'm doing the right things, and I have the right accountability in place, since we're drug tested so often. In the past, maybe, I've stayed sober a year, and I think the longest was 22 months without probation or anything like that. But my disease has advanced so much that I know without the drug testing and things like that, I would definitely be thinking about it more. But the good thing is, very rarely do I think of doing anything. The only time it happens is if we take a certain route and we go by somebody's house or something,
Sure.
I'll think of it. Or actually, it happened today, which very rarely happens. I sold some stuff on my girlfriend's account, and she took out the cash and handed me like $250 in cash. And as soon as it hit my hand, I was like, my thought was, and I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. So I ran and I put it on my card, so that I wouldn't, have a cash on me. But yeah, it's crazy how fast that those thoughts can come up. But it's also crazy how fast I turn it away whenever I realize that I'll go back to jail. I test positive. So I want to go back there, and I want to have a relationship with my daughter, and I want to move forward and have a career and do a bunch of things, that I haven't been able to do because of drugs.
Yeah. Well, and I think that, those thoughts of using, they're going to happen. And I tell people, don't panic and don't worry that, oh my gosh, this means my recovery is not as strong as I think because I just thought about using. That's not really the case. As you said, the key is, what do I do with it when I have the thought? And the other thing is, as you spend more time back out in the community as a clean, sober individual, you're also going to get better and smarter at navigating, literally and figuratively, to make sure that you don't take that route, and to make sure that, you've got a PayPal account or whatever that people can use to pay you. So you're not sitting on cash. You're going to put some measures in place over time that will probably help support your sobriety. And I'm going to encourage you to do that even when you're 5 years clean down the road, because the old timers are guys who figured out how to set something up that was sustainable. They learned how to figure out how to, if you're trying to quit eating candy, don't go to work in a candy store, right?
Right.
So you learn how to put yourself in good situations and not put yourself in bad ones. So don't panic about the thoughts, but do let it motivate you to think critically about, hey, how can I lighten my own load here? I don't need to be driving by that house, because it hits me every time. And boy, if I'm having the wrong kind of a day, that could be a problem. And thank God I didn't have that thought today. But you'll start to think about ways that you can take it easier on yourself and plan around those vulnerabilities and navigate those safely.
Yeah.
I think it's a nice start for you, Mr. Mullen. I'm enjoying, watching you get yourself set up. I hope that you have some luck with this next idea for a job. I always tell guys with jobs, don't quit looking until for sure you've got it all locked down. And it sounds like you've got a good idea here to just look nearby, something that you can navigate and get transportation to reliably. I think that's a really good idea for a first gig in drug court. That's a good plan.
Yeah, and even if for whatever reason I can't get this hardship, or I'm going to stay on top of them. But even if the worst came to worst, it's 6 months. I've gone a year several times without a license, because of different things. So it's not the end of the world. I've had to ride a bus and ride a bike to work several times. So I'll just do it again.
Sure.
And then there's John B that I heard he's having to drive his bike for like 9 months, like 5 miles a day. So I was like, he was inspirational to see that somebody else has got to do that,
There you go. Hey, you know what? No matter what you've got, there's going to be somebody who's lifted something heavier. But that's good. That can provide a little inspiration, a little hope, right? And I thank Mr. Bristol for that. But I think you're putting together a solid game plan, and you're taking good suggestions. So that's a good sign as well.
Thanks, Your Honor.
Keep up the good work, Mr. Mullen. Ask for help if you need it, okay?
I will. Thank you.
And let me check in next with Mr. Bristol. It's a good segue.
Hello, Your Honor.
How are you doing?
I am great. I'm very well. Enjoying life. Everything's good, and I am really enjoying the convenience of being able to drive now. It's life changing. Yeah, but
Congratulations.
Thanks. But recovery wise, I'm not changing anything. It's just something that makes your life more convenient. I'm still staying patient. I've developed this routine, my new habits I've built, and I'm just really just trying to stick to it. And I'm really just working on, when things are coming at you, like not to worry about nothing that I cannot control.
Sure.
And that goes a long way with me. And I've been having a lot of good one-on-ones with James, and he really knows how to light the fire with me and keep me motivated to keep going. And a lot of things that he says to me really sticks, and I use it day to day. And I'm just trying to keep progressing. There's still things I need to work on, along the lines of developing a recovery network and whatnot. But I feel like I'm on track. Everything's coming together for me.
That's a nice thing to be able to say, a nice feeling, right?
Yeah, it really is.
Well, and you've been putting in a lot of work for a long time now. And so I'm really glad to hear that you feel yourself making progress. If you don't feel that sense of progress, you'll eventually, quit pedaling, right? That was a bike analogy. But I'm thrilled to hear that you're making good use of your time with James too. I was saying with the ladies earlier, I look at treatment like a pile of money on a table, and some of you guys really take all of it and put it to good use, and some of you unfortunately just leave it all sitting there and get by doing the dead bang minimum. At the moment, I don't think I've got anybody on this call who's guilty of that, so that's good. But it looks like you're really taking good advantage and recognizing the value that is James and how much he can really improve your life.
Yeah. And as time went on from being in the program and just developing and building a relationship with him, it just made everything so much easier just to talk with him. Like he's like my best friend I've known forever, kind of.
That's a rock star of a clinician right there. That's a good sign.
Yeah.
So tell me, a goal that you had before was to get the license, and you've got that now. So what's coming into focus as your next goal? Have you got any ideas?
I think I need to focus on this, on my recovery.
Okay.
I need to, reach out and develop a network. Since I have the opportunity now to drive, like I want to start going into some in-person meetings, trying to network, maybe develop a sponsor on the lines of that. Going forward, I am interested in some educational stuff, but I'm gonna keep putting that one off a little bit. But I think I just need to. I'm on a good track right now, and I just want to keep what I have going, and only make it stronger.
Okay.
So, yeah.
I like it. So, in that that squares nicely with what I would have suggested. You saved me the trouble. Yeah, I pushed you before, but then I eased up a little bit as far as pushing you on sponsor and step work, because frankly, I trust James and the rest of the team to figure out, what everybody's best fit and best pace might be. But I think that if you do follow through with that goal and, really recommit to meetings and growing a network and identifying a sponsor, those sorts of things, I think you're going to really find yourself, another bad analogy, you're going to find a higher gear. You're going to really take what you're working on. I'm full of them, guys. It's a bottomless well. But I think you'll find a higher gear. I think you'll find that what you have been working on as a foundation sets you up now to explore that. So I'd love to see you pursue that. And then maybe it's a longer term goal right now to kind of keep in the back of your mind that there might be some more school or some more education that you work on at a certain point. That's a great landscape.
Yeah, and especially I'm getting some time, and as drug court might start to wean off, if I can develop something that I can revert to, and as a substitute to balance it. So it's the goal. That's
actually precisely what the goal of drug court is. We're here for treatment. We're here for all sorts of structure, accountability, and support. But if you really do it right, you get everything you can out of treatment while you're here, and on a sort of a parallel bike path, you will also work on building a program. You'll work on setting something up in the community, because that outlasts drug court. That's going to be what keeps you, I won't do it. I won't say on the path, but that'll be what keeps you on the path long after you finish drug court. That structure, that accountability, it goes, when it works best, people move on from drug court, but they've already got their own structure and accountability that they built during their time with us. And it's really a very smooth transition. So the timing is great for you to start to really shift your focus toward that. I'm excited for you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
I apologize for all the really bad puns. There are more. I actually did exclude several others that popped into my brain, so you're welcome. Keep up the good work, Mr. Bristol, and congratulations again on the driver's license. You have a great perspective there on just how valuable that is, so hang on to that.
Yeah.
Let me switch over to Mr. King.
How are you, Your Honor?
I'm doing okay. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic, thank you.
Tell me what you've been working on.
Same old, just trying to maintain and keep on the straight and narrow. Not much has really changed. I've got my one-on-ones with James, which are doing a lot of justice for me. My MRT group is better than any other group I've been in with drug court. Okay. I think it's a really good thing that James started this up, because it does encourage you to take a deeper look at yourself and and what might really be bothering you and what's going on in your life and how to correct and maintain, you know. So but other than that, you know, I'm not really trying to change anything up right now. All my big major goals have come and gone, so I'm getting ready to figure out some new ones and keep striving for them. I mean, I've got one now, which I'm trying to get is trying to break even with David Lawrence and get caught up on that. I've had I got to take advantage of it while the side work has been around. You know, the last couple of months the side work has been flowing in, so I've been able to spend $100 a week to David Lawrence trying to get caught up.
Good.
Like I said, just trying to take advantage of the situation while I've got it. You know, when season's out, obviously it's going to slow down. So if I can get ahead of the game prior to that, then I need to. My next goal, I think I'm going to start is reestablishing my credit. I got a notification from Credit Karma that it went up 19 points last month. So I don't know what I did right or what I didn't do wrong or whatnot, but something's going on, and it's definitely something I need to take a look into because, you know, I'm in a lease right now, so I'm paying somebody else's mortgage. I'd rather, you know, by the end of drug court, the end of the year, something like that, be looking into buying a house for my family and paying my own mortgage. You know, so, I mean, I've got some goals set. But yeah, everything's going smoothly, and I have no complaints. Got some other things going on that we're waiting to hear back about, but you know, not too much to. It's something that's not in my control right now, so I'm not really stressing it. You know, there's something that's going on, and something we've been my girlfriend and I have been striving for since we got together almost 4 years ago. You know, and it's finally the patience and the right timing and everything's starting to play in, and hopefully it all works out for us, and hopefully by the end of the week we'll know something. But yeah, you know. All right. Nothing too extreme or extravagant going on.
Well, I think that's key. You know, I'm thinking of Mr. O'Brien as I'm listening to you, and I've been preaching at him for all these months about, you know, really striving for consistency. And I will note, Mr. O'Brien, you've been doing a really nice job with that. But, you know, now that you get deeper into it, I know he agrees with this, it's not easy at first. But once you start to string together a second week and a third week and a fourth week of being the same guy, of being reliable, respectful, and focused, week 5 is easier than 4, 6 is easier than 5, and so forth. It really picks up speed. And so I think that might be part of what you're seeing there, Mr. Keene, is your effort to kind of cut out the noise and
right. You know, it was difficult when I first got into the program. There was so much going on, so much that had to be done. And you know, the further into the program I get, yes, it's getting easier, but it's still got the structure from the very beginning. Yeah. You know, so that structure is what makes it easier. But that structure is also what makes it difficult in the beginning. Yeah. You know, it's a catch-22. You got to like it, but it's there, you know. It's all about the structure and consistency, you know, and I'm just trying to stay consistent, and my program's working for me right now. So good. Yeah, you quit fighting it, it does get easier. So, and absolutely. I think that's what you're seeing, and I give MRT and James a lot of credit for just kind of helping to show you how to get out of your own way, how to get that healthier thinking to pop into your brain instead of some of the older instincts. Absolutely. Good. Kind of like what Justin was speaking about. You know, I did a side job today, and I got that lump of cash in my hand, and you know, instead of even thinking like, hey, let's go to the dope man's house, you know, my first thought was, let me go ahead and pay off half my rent so I can get ahead. Yeah. You know what I mean? And like your whole mindset changes as you get into the program. Yeah, you might have those very rare, inconsistent thoughts, but that's life on life's terms. Yeah. You know, but the deeper into the program you get and the deeper into recovery that you get, you know, it gets so much easier and so much fewer and farther in between. Yep. And I think you're exactly right. And I know I've mentioned this before, maybe not since you've been with us, but
I heard a guy speak once, and he said that, you know, he finally just came to have a saying in his mind all the time, which is first thought wrong. You know, whatever the first thought was that popped in, he would never act on it. He would wait.
Mentioned it.
Yep, he would wait. And, you know, if the second thought was the same and the third thought was the same over, you know, a period of time, and that's really some MRT kind of judo, right? You know, to just be patient. Those first thoughts are going to happen. Don't panic. Don't feel like that must mean that, you know, your recovery is failing. It's not. But just learning to be patient and wait through those initial thoughts, like you and Mr. Mullen mentioned, you know, that's a really powerful defense, you know, to manage your disease safely.
And to be quite honest, I didn't even realize it that I had that thought or was thinking like that until he mentioned it.
Yeah.
You know, it just didn't even register in my mind that it, you know, everything's just coming so naturally now, you know, so.
Yeah, it's good.
It's what's the word I'm looking for? Familiar.
Okay. Yeah.
You know, it's just.
We've talked about financial sobriety, and now that you're starting to feel like your behavior and management of drug court is getting more consistent, it's getting more natural. Now you can shift your focus to, you know, really working on that financial stuff. You know, a friend of mine says, when I get paid, if I owe anything to anyone, that money's not mine.
Right.
And until I've got everybody squared up, including this month's bills paid, I don't even think about, you know, I really kind of wanted, you know, that such and such in the window at the mall. And you just start, that's sober thinking. Okay, I still owe DLC. So there, you know, I'm going to set up a list of priorities, and I'm going to just make sure my business is handled. And it takes your stress level down. And you want to talk about building credit. That's how you do it. Right. Absolutely. There. And the last point I want to make, because I love to talk about credit, and there are people on this call that know far more about this than I do, but I like your goal of trying ultimately to work towards some housing that you own. I want to suggest that you talk to people who know about credit and be patient. You've got, and I'll just give you a quick example. You could theoretically save enough money to buy a house by the end of drug court, like you suggested. It's going to be at this interest rate because you've got whatever criminal history, you've got whatever credit score, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Or you could be patient, save for an extra year, maybe even an extra 2 years, build that credit score. The interest will be here.
Right.
Probably half of what it is if you race in there and take the first deal you qualify for. So I'm going to encourage you to talk to people who know about this stuff and get some understanding, because the reality is that patience literally pays. You get a house at a lower interest rate, you're talking about paying for that sucker for 15 to 30 years. A lower rate, I mean, that's a car over time. Absolutely. Right?
I understand.
That's your kid's education. So I'm going to preach patience to you, and just right now work on nailing that debt. So you've got that squared away, and work on building that score. We've got, I may have mentioned before, the case managers can connect you to James, who's on the call, who can really help with.
Well, you mentioned the gentleman's name a few times since I've been in the program. And I was going to ask Nikki his name and number. Just because my credit score is horrible, and I want to get it up there, you know, to where it's at least manageable, where I'm not frowned upon. Like the struggles I went through trying to find a place wasn't just my criminal history; it was my credit score.
Yep.
You know, and like I said, I was fortunate enough to find a guy that would look past it, and I've stayed ahead of the game since I've been here, and I want to continue to stay that way. But at the same time, I want to build the future.
Yeah, his name is James, and he's on the call. He's in the recovery community, got several years, and he dials in every week faithfully to get inspiration from listening to you guys who are newer in the journey. And the case managers have his contact information. Okay. And case managers, if you misplace it or need anything, just reach out to me and I'll get you reconnected. But you know, that's somebody who's offering to do a little bit of service. you'll be helping to support his journey by taking advantage. And I'll tell you, you're not going to find anybody with more know-how. You just got to take the suggestions when you get them. That's the tricky part, because some of them involve being patient, like I said, and delaying.
I've been patient, and I'm waiting for it to fit into the right moment.
Good.
You know, I had so much going on in the beginning to where that I feel I'm in that time frame to go ahead and start working on something different now. So
yeah. Yep, and you just keep shifting those goals and keep plugging away and adding new things as you complete others. I think you're putting together a really nice game plan here. I'm excited for you.
thank you very much, Your Honor.
Good. Anything else you wanted to address, Mr. King?
No, I think everything else is good. Today's 7 months clean for me, so
All right.
I'm having a good day.
Fantastic. Well, keep doing what you're doing. Keep giving James your full attention, and I think you're seeing the benefits right here, so keep it up.
Absolutely am. Thank you very much, Your Honor.
Let me check in next with Mr. Paradiso. Just trying to keep the deck shuffled here, guys.
Hey, what's going on?
How are you doing?
I'm doing awesome. Today has been a really good day.
Yeah, how come?
I went to the DMV and got my license again. So, yeah, everybody's talking about driving. I've been Ubering for the last 6 months everywhere. And my car's just been sitting there. It's been killing me just watching it and looking at my account with all the Ubers. So yeah, I managed to take care.
What do you do with all this extra money?
Oh, well, there's no extra money. The extra money, and I'm glad to say, was because I had to renew the insurance. I didn't have any insurance. I had to pay, I think, $120 to get the license reinstated.
Okay.
And then I had to take it to the shop because it's been sitting there. It wasn't, and it was just the battery that needed to be jumped, which was awesome because I thought it was going to be something totally different, but it was just the battery that I needed a better jump.
Okay.
So yeah, now all the extra money that I'll be getting now, I can actually say that I can start paying my David Lawrence bills because that's kind of like stacking up there. Kind of needed to retain all my money because I've been Ubering everywhere. But yeah, it's gonna feel good now knowing that I'm not spending $400, $500, $600 a month on Ubering.
Yeah, that's a mortgage payment for some folks. So you've got license, insurance, and registration all set?
Registration I have to do tomorrow because I have an MRT group at 5:30. So I can't drive the car there. I don't want to get stopped in any way.
No.
Exactly. I'm gonna have to Uber there, my last Uber, and get it registered. But other than that, everything else is taken care of, which it's awesome because now I can help to where I need to go. And do a lot more than I've been doing.
But you'll have to budget now for insurance and gasoline and maintenance, but it should free up some money, and you should really think about every time you get a big change like that, go back to your budget, square it up with the new information, and think about setting up a structure for you to just nail that debt with DLC. Just like Mr. King said, he's been looking at trying to figure out how much can I pay each week. Work on that. It'll lighten your load mentally so much to be feeling the progress on that.
Yeah, and that's why I just got health insurance to help me with the DLC bill as well.
Great.
Yeah, I can say I've never had my adult life. I've never had any health insurance. So this I can say that this program is definitely doing a lot of change. And just the fact that I had that lump sum of money to go to something important, just as the other guy said, my thought was the same thought as theirs every time I had a good amount of cash in my pocket. But this time around, that was nowhere near my thought. It was taken care of.
Yeah, well, you're taking care of yourself. I mean, getting health insurance, having a car that's all legal, all of those things, some of us might take those things for granted, but you guys know how valuable that is. And I just say, welcome. You're going to enjoy it here. It's a good place.
Yeah, it's one of those things I was just going to say. Yeah, I definitely did take all of that for granted before. So I can definitely see a change now, in myself, the way my life is going to go. It's only up.
Well, I'm excited for you, Mr. Paradiso. I think you've been trying to work, like I said to the other guys, on being consistent and putting in the work, being patient, and things are really starting to come around. So keep it up. It's working for you.
Yeah, it definitely is. Definitely is. Something so small, it just feels like a big accomplishment now.
It's huge.
Yeah, it is. It is. I
Good. Well,
appreciate
congratulations.
Thank you, Your Honor. I appreciate it.
Let me touch base with Mr. O'Brien next.
How you doing, Your Honor?
I'm doing okay, Mr. O'Brien. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. I mean, slowly but surely it happened. I'm back working with my dad's company now. As of like today, it was actually 2 weeks today. So after, I mean, in total, it's been like 3.5 years, but the past 18 months of me actually putting work in to earn that relationship back, you know, it finally happened. Everything's going great there. Everybody loves me back, you know. They miss me. Like even my stepmother that I've never gotten along with, she's kind of praising me to other employees that are there, like when I'm not around or whatever, you know. So it's like, it's a little strange. I ain't ever gotten anything like that from her. So it's like, okay, is she being real? Is she being fake? Is she two-faced? You know?
That's great.
But no, it's really, it's a good feeling.
What sort of work is it?
AC. I'm back doing AC work.
Okay.
So, I mean, everything in that aspect is going great. I'm really just, you know, I haven't really added anything but that, the new job. Trying to stay focused on the MRT. That's, like I said, I say it every time. I could preach big on that group.
Yeah.
Like it's so up my alley. It's not even funny, from like an ego standpoint to even like how you were saying, like the consistency thing. I think I owe a lot of the consistency that I've been showing to that group. You know what I mean? Because I'm learning a lot about myself. Like Bryant was saying, you know, the behavior, the ego, the being like socially, like doing it correct. You know what I mean? So that's something that I've mainly taken a big focus on, because I know for a fact it's helping me. So I try to stay focused on that.
Good. I love hearing that. You know, it's been, I think it's been a gap in our ground game to have that MRT, and I'm really glad to have it, because we're so good with treatment for substance use and really good with treatment for trauma and structure and accountability. But to really just be able to help with the behavior.
I think that's a big key for a lot of people. It's going to be a big key.
Well, I'm thrilled to hear that it's going well, and you know, like everything else in life, you'll get out of it exactly what you put into it. So you really determine whether that's a good course and a good use of your time or not. So I commend you guys for giving it your full effort and full attention. That's great.
Thank you. Go for it.
Anything that you need from us, or anything that you wanted to address?
I mean, anything that I need from you guys. I'm already in contact with the office at DLC, because I guess my expiration date had ran up for that payment, you know, that sliding scale or whatever. My price had expired, so I had to bring in some new pay stubs or my bank statements. So, but I'm in good contact with them, trying to get that situated.
Yeah, I don't have anything to do with that. That'll be between you and DLC. But
Other than that, no, I don't got nothing to bring up. And if anything, I know where to reach out to, you know. So.
Well, I want to commend you for, again, I can't overstate the power of the consistency that you're working on. But the other side of that same coin is patience. You've been more patient with yourself. And I think the patience that you have worked to exercise with those family relationships is paying off too. They don't always come around at the same speed that you might want them to, but they're coming around now, and even from some unexpected sources, right? You know, the person who holds back and waits and watches with their arms that ends up sometimes meaning the most. And so I think that patience, you got to keep that up. It's not something you can set down, but it's paying off for you, and I want to make sure you know we see it.
Thank you. Yeah, I don't plan on letting off or, you know, taking a step back or anything. I'm going forward full throttle. My chain is greased.
All right. There you, oh, he was holding that one. He was sitting on that like an egg until the very end, wasn't he? All right. That's it. I think that works, and it's appropriate. So good.
And yo, Andre, you got a job, man. It's good to see you back out. So I'll be over at Barrios, man. I'll see you to get my haircut from now on.
See you there, bro. Thank you, man.
Good, good. All right, Mr. O'Brien, keep up the good work. Keep taking it one day at a time like you have been. It's paying off.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
All right, let me touch base next. Again, trying to go back and forth. Let's talk to Mr. Gallegos. How you doing, Mr. Gallegos?
How you doing, Your Honor?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
I'm good, blessed and highly favored.
Okay. What have you been working on?
Not, the same stuff. I got with Brooke, and we're looking into the smart recovery side of the recovery. I like what I've been seeing and hearing so far. So, like I said, I'm just a couple of days into it, but I think it's something for me. We've come up with that how can I say, agreement type of, when we have our one-on-ones, which I look forward to, every time I go to that place. And but yeah, other than that, nothing new. I'm not, I'm taking it day by day. I'm not getting too far ahead of myself, like I always say, because it's the truth. I'm working, paying my bills, and feels good.
There you go.
Blessed to be here. Just
that was that the paying the bills was a real challenge when you were brand new with us. How have you gotten on top of that? How's that gotten better for you?
Well, just being able to, have that job and that opportunity where they will work with you in any way, shape, and form. Having somebody that believes in you, makes it all that much better as well.
Sure.
Especially at your workplace. So with that, I'm blessed to have that, and I like working where I work, and just being able to save money and pay bills. And I've been having trouble with my car, but I've been fixing it, as the weeks go on. But nothing major. Like I said, just staying focused. Doing my meetings. The same old stuff.
Okay. All right. I think that's a great report. When you start to get to where you're able to manage your obligations and put together a few weeks in a row, and a few weeks after that, you're really starting, I think, to enjoy some good stability and consistency, like I've been talking to these other guys. Early on, we had two different Mr. Gallegos. We had one guy that was all in and another guy that was distracted. And now I think we're starting to see the right Mr. Gallegos, and he's showing up each and every time. So that's wonderful.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, and that's who you're gonna get from now on, because, I don't see it any other way. Where I'm at now, I feel like this is where I need to be. I'm comfortable. I'm content. I'm focused.
Yeah.
I feel like nothing can get to me. So I'm staying in prayer.
Good.
Doing that, and
good.
People that believe in you, believe in what I'm doing, it's a big deal.
Exactly. And I think the job has been a big piece of the puzzle for you, having that structure and accountability that comes from the job. It's not the top priority. Recovery comes first, but having a good job where they trust you and rely on you, that's working with your recovery work, that was a big piece of the puzzle for you. It really seemed like things took off for the better once you settled into this current position, and things started to fall into place a little better, didn't they?
Yes, they did, 100%.
Good.
Thankful for that.
Me too. You need anything from us, Mr. Gallegos?
No, not at the moment. Like I said, if I do have, like I said, I've talked to Brooke, and but nothing off the top of my head right now. No, nothing at all.
Good. Well, I'm pleased. All of you guys that are getting deeper into the program and starting to really enjoy some stability, some consistency. The only thing I have to remind you, though, is, hey, it's always day one. And if you need help, don't hesitate to ask for it. And as long as you keep that thought in mind, you just getting better and better, but never hesitate to ask for help. I worry sometimes that as guys do this, that they might get shy again on me, or hesitant to. They don't want anyone to know that everything's not perfect, and that's not how we roll around here. We're always ready to help. So make sure that communication stays open, okay?
Yes, for sure.
Good. All right, Mr. Gallegos, keep it up. Great job.
Thank you.
Let me touch base next with Mr. Moreno.
How you doing, Your Honor?
I'm doing okay, Mr. Moreno. How are you doing this week?
Well, recovery standpoint, I'm doing great. Financially, not doing so well. Ever since I had a crossroad, it's been up and down for me. Recovery wise, I'm doing fantastic. No cravings, no nothing. But just money wise, I got into a little accident with my foot. Was fractured, and then my truck breaking down on me, and just the cold weather. The work I do is the lawn service, tree service, so it's really not growing right now. So just work's been really slow. But
Okay.
besides that, just having a broken, pretty much a broken foot, and a broken truck now. I always try to get it, on my own, to the best of my ability. And when, I feel that, I'm struggling, I always reach out, and
Okay.
I'm definitely staying away from family this time. That's kind of, money was pretty easy last time, because my family's, they own the lawn service, tree service business.
Okay.
But, they're up to no good. So I got to stay away from them people, even though, they have the work for me. My recovery's first, so I've been looking around. Work's there, it's just now, these next couple of days, I'm going to have some pretty good income coming in, but just not having a vehicle and stuff, it's been a struggle.
Okay. Well, and my question, maybe you've already answered it. My question was going to be, what your thoughts were on how you could address it. The circumstances changed on you between your truck, your foot, the family getting into some stuff you don't want to be a part of. So have you got some ideas as to what you can do to keep yourself moving forward with these changes?
I definitely have a small, strong circle, I do got a couple guys that, I can call them for anything, they're always there for me. If I feel any type of way, I can call them, they'll be here, they'll leave work for me, so definitely Brooke's been fantastic for me. She's very, very, if I need anything from her, she's she always responds at any hour, It's just like I say, it's recovery, it's great, but just the financial situation, it's not all there right now. But I know I've done, a lot of, I've done a lot of dirt in this county, so I know things aren't going to be perfect. There's going to be, karma is real, and I believe in it. So, just, taking it a day at a time, and just trying to get my truck fixed so I can just pick up the work schedule, because that's really all I'm slacking on, but I'm not going to let it get to my recovery. So.
Okay. Well, and I just want to remind you, the case managers can help in terms of connecting you to, employment sources, places. It may be that, what you do for right now is switch gears and get away from landscaping, or, think about doing something else that just might be a little more manageable for you, but keep the money coming in. Like Mr. Mullen was saying, look, I'm just going to check the place up nearby on the corner. There's 4 businesses. Hopefully one of them needs a little bit of help. At this point, any honest work will fit the bill, as long as you can get yourself there and you can manage it with that foot injury. So, think about keeping an open mind about opportunities. Maybe you switch gears to something that's a little different for a while, just to get some money coming in.
Yeah, actually, Mr. Bristol, he offered me a job on the golf course, and it's just not having a vehicle to be able to get there. I kind of stayed on bad terms with him. I even feel bad about it, because I was supposed to that's the type of work I like doing, and just not having a vehicle, having to depend on people. It's kind of hard,
Sure.
and that's my only little struggle now. But I know, I keep praying about it, and just, I know I'll come forward. Both of my sisters are a big part of my recovery, so if I need to get somewhere, they'll be there for me.
Okay. Well, and think about, like I said, talking to the case manager and picking their brains a little bit if they've got any ideas, or if they know of anybody who needs work that might be able to, make that truck unnecessary for a little bit while you save up some money to fix it. Think about that resource as well, if that can help you. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Well, Mr. Moreno, I'm thrilled. Our conversations the last few weeks, probably the last several weeks, have been really good. Your focus is where it needs to be. You feel good about your recovery and the effort you're putting into it. So, I think that's critical, and you're doing well with that. Just, think about how you can maybe be creative here, or look at something new or different to get the employment piece put in place for yourself. Everything else sounds like it's coming together really nicely. So I want to make sure you don't lose track of all the good just because it's a little bit frustrating on one piece there. It's still all good.
Yes, ma'am.
Good. All right. Well, good luck. And like I said, don't forget to think about the case managers as a resource, because if it's been going on for a few weeks, you really need to put something in place so that you can get the money, you can fix the truck, and then you can think about other opportunities. But is there anything close by to where you work? Anything you could get to with a bicycle, maybe?
Kind of where I'm at. It's kind of nothing really close by there. So.
Okay. I know that may be tricky while your foot's injured, but all right. Well, brainstorm it with your case managers, with others, see if there's anything that comes to mind that you might be able to do using what you currently have to work with. And hopefully, you'll get over this hump, and then you'll have a lot more options.
Yes, ma'am.
Good. All right. Well, Mr. Moreno, keep up the good work. You're doing a nice job.
Thank you.
And that leaves Mr. Spadarico. Thank you for your patience, Mr. Spadarico. How are you doing?
Wonderful, Your Honor.
What have you been working on?
Well, I have written down here devoted. And the reason I have that written down, I've listened to everything that you said today. This is like the best AA meeting on your call ever. I mean, that we're in court. But first it started off with where somebody was driving and they drove past the house that brought them to an urge. Yeah. And, I find myself in the same position that, sometimes faster is not better. And then you reiterated on patience with finance, and that is brilliant. And I'm just trying to find the solutions to a lot of my problems.
Okay.
And I think it all comes down to patience and being just be smart about it. For one, I owe it to myself to stay sober.
Yeah.
And these are things that I reiterate to myself at a constant rate, and eventually it's going to sink in.
Okay. And have you got? I know you're getting reestablished after completing treatment. Have you got any opportunity with employment? Have you got anything put in place yet on that?
Oh, absolutely. I have very good work ethics, and the job that I have is similar to Omar's. We do trees. And
okay.
However, I'm utilizing my surroundings, and I went to the case manager last week, and I got these papers here that I'm filling out for something a little different.
Okay.
I got to do a CPR class, not necessarily take care of elderly people, but something along that lines. And I'm trying to get away from the business I'm in because of the situations it's put me into.
Okay.
So I'm doing the whole change thing, Tony. You need to change things. You need to change your routine.
Sure.
So I'm in the process of doing that.
Okay. So you've got employment, but you are investigating some different opportunities that would put you in a different setting that you think will be more supportive of your recovery?
I do. And I always feel that it's easier to get a job when you have one. I don't know what, always in my life, when I had a job, it was easier to get one. When I didn't have one, it took forever. So that's what I'm doing it now.
Okay. All right. Well, that's good. And you said that the case manager's been able to help provide you with some resources and things that you could use for that.
Absolutely.
Okay. And so, so you're working on the job front. Anything else that's been challenging, it's been difficult to kind of put in place now that you are back out with us again?
I mean, I'm doing 17 hours of therapy a week. I'm busy, I guess you would say.
Okay.
You know, and I'm keeping my side of the street clean, I
Okay.
guess you would say.
That's all good. I think that's good.
And paying bills at the same time. So it's a full-time job.
Okay. Well, and you just, you know, when you've got that much, because it's really a bit of a reset for you. So you're really kind of back to what probably feels like month one of drug court, maybe even more intense because you've got this intensive treatment going on. But it just really makes even more important your organization. I know you're a notes guy, you're a writer. So I imagine you're using that to just really make sure that you're organized, that you know what you need to do, and that you've got a plan of attack. Is that pretty fair?
That is correct, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. Good. Good. So organizing your schedule and organizing those financial obligations that you're going to have to address, keeping that laid out for yourself will really keep the stress down and keep the focus where it needs to be. So good for you.
Well, I appreciate it, and I appreciate drug court and you as well, Judge. I mean, James is great. He does one-on-ones with me. We hit on some good issues since I've been out, and what can I say? It's just changing my life.
Good. Good. Well, it's really a privilege. I say on behalf of the whole team, it's a privilege to be a part of this work and to watch treatment work their magic. They're just tremendous over there. And you guys, you know, everybody on this call, I think, has brought an open mind and a genuine desire to change. And that's about all you need. Everything else is going to flow from that. So I'm really pleased to get to talk to each of you and hear about the various ways that you are working to move things forward for yourself. That's great. Mr. Spadarico, it's a reset, it's a restart, but I think you're really starting to put some good pieces in place for yourself.
Thank you, Your Honor.
And James, you just came on, so I just wanted to make sure, did you have anything that you wanted? Were you looking to chime in on anything?
No, Your Honor, just getting ready for our 4 o'clock.
Good. Okay, just making sure. Well, with that, then I'm pleased my time management skills were decent today, and I've got us wrapped up a few minutes ahead. So we'll say again, I'm thrilled. I love days like this when we've got a docket that's just filled with guys who are changing their lives and doing a nice job of it. Never, ever, ever set down that communication tool. Keep the communication wide open. Ask for help if you need it. But we're seeing this great progress. Keep it up, guys. With that, I'll let you go, and I'll see you all in, some of you a week, some of you a couple weeks. Keep up the good work. Congratulations on all the great accomplishments this week.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Great job, guys. And then those on the team who are going to be part of the exit interview, we can take a brief recess, and we'll get back right at 4. I imagine our participant will be on time. Thanks, guys. Okay, Ms. Gonzalez, good afternoon again.